Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And I hope you all have an awesome day today. And thank you for joining me for our Tutorial Tuesday. And today I'm going to do two cards, and I'm going to be doing the easiest easel cards that I know how to do. So to do that, I'm going to be using KSCRAFT, and these are the basic slimline dies that she does, and they have a stitched edge. Now we're going to be using the largest one in this set, and as I said, it's the easiest easel that I know how. And I'm also going to be using the paper pack, or shall I say cardstock pack, that she sent to me. We're going to be using the sentiment dies that she sent to me. We're going to be using the cake die. There is a macron die in here as well that comes with this lovely cloche, but I'm going to save that and do that one for Thursday. I'm using the oval dies that she sent to me. They're really, really pretty. And I'm also using the sort of like candy sweetheart hearts with the writing on them. So we're going to use those. Right, so I'm going to go and do some die cutting, and I'll be right back. Okay, done that and cleared all my table again, and I have done two of the large slimline bases. I've done one in pink and one in white. And I have also cut, using the cardstock, I'm picking all the bits up here, I have done the fancy frame and the large oval, and I'm going to put that one over on my white cardstock. I've done the base for that cake stand. I've done the cake in pink and in white. I've used that lovely glitter cardstock from Joanne. I've cut a cloche cover. Now that looks a little bit, you know, sort of at the moment, but that's because it has a clear peel off backing on both sides. So when I peel that off, it becomes clear. And so I've got my cloche cover, my cake stands, my cake. I've cut the smaller oval to make the stop on the easel. I'll push that up a bit. And I've done matching cardstock in the smaller oval. And then I've cut the sentiment always in gold, and it's going to lay out onto the glitter white, and that will go down there. And then for my pink one, I've used the oh, I've forgotten what it's called. It's called, yeah, Lucky Us, that's it, by Pink Paisley from Joanne. And I've cut the oval in the white. This is the pink paisley pad, Lucky Us, and I've done that. And I've added some foamy pads while I was away, because this is basically what I'm going to do to the other one as well, onto the white. And then I've got this one which says You and Me, and these will be the stop on the bottom of the easel there. And then to go onto here, I use the candy hearts, and I've cut those in pink sparkle from Joanne. I've placed a piece of white cardstock underneath so that you've got some contrast, and then they're on pink, and then they're all on foamy pads. And I'm just going to kind of like dot those about like that. So these are really quick sort of Valentine's or birthday cards, because this one would make a brilliant birthday cake as well. Right, so I'm just going to clear these, and then let's fold and make the easel. Right, so as I said before, these are the quickest and easiest I know, and you're going to need a bone folder, and I'm using Dollar Tree glue for any completion that I need to do. And all you need to do is take your large die cut that you just did using that basic set, or if you're using any other set, and you're going to fold it in half. Then you're going to get your bone folder and you're going to go down it. That's all you need to do. I'll take my other one as well while I'm here, and I'm just going to line it up corner to corner there. Make sure I've got it accurate. and then we're just going to use the bone folder, and we've folded that in half. So there we are, we've got 2 card bases here folded in half. Now all you need to do now is open it out, and you're going to make a quarter. So take it down to the line that you've just scored. It really is this easy, and you're just going to do that, and that is your start of your basic easel. You can see that you've got plenty of space there. You can flatten it out again because you've got to glue stuff, but your stop is going to go there, and that is going to be your basic easel. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you already do this and already know this, but there's an awful lot of people out there that don't know how to do an easel card, and this really is one of the easiest ways to do it. So that's my pink and my white one done, and I'm just going to flatten that out again, because the next bit that we need to do is, if I grab my die cuts again, sort them into their piles as I swizzle them around, this piece here needs to be glued down onto here, and it needs to go straight into the middle, and you need to stay above that edge. So I would actually use the stitch line to stay above that edge, so that you've got a nice decorative bit at the bottom as well. So all you need to do now is, I always use Dollar Tree glue. People that watch my channel know this, and because I can see roughly where it's going to be, can you see it's just at the bottom of the scallop on that fold, then that is where my glue needs to go. So I hope my hand isn't in the way as I just go a little bit around the edge there, just to hold that bit down. I know it's at the base of the scallop, so I can just go straight across as a line, a little squiggle of glue. You don't need to overdo it, and then I can put that down, pop it straight above that little stitched edge that I just said. Make sure that it's straight, and up to the center there it looks even. I do want to center it. I think that's it. And then you're just going to rub that down so that just that part of your card is stuck down on there, and then it's still able to fold in half. So just run your fingers around it and glue it, and then there's the first part of your easel. See, it's just attached there, so that when you're popping it into your envelope, you'll just do that. So you've got a little bit of a hangover, and I'll measure this completed when I'm done. But I'm just going to do exactly the same to this one and glue this on here, and I'll be back. Right, so I've got those glued down, and we now have what I call 2 easy easels. There they are. And they've got that lovely stitching all the way around it. That's what it looks like on the back. You can absolutely decorate the back if you want to, and it will fold flat and go into your envelope. But I'm going to add dimension. I've always got to have dimension on everything. So first of all, decide whether, when you pop in your next piece on, if you want to do it on foamy pads or if you want to glue it down. Now I'm going to be adding dimension with my cake and my lettering, so I think I'm just going to go straight ahead and just glue these pieces on flat. So first of all, I'll go in with this one, and once again, all I use is Dollar Tree glue. I don't use anything expensive or fancy, and to be honest, this has never ever failed me yet. You get a huge bottle for $1, obviously, from Dollar Tree, and please excuse my throat. Now I just want to make sure that I'm positioning that in the correct place, and as you know, the camera's always in my face, and I think that's straight. So I'm popping that down nice and flat on there, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing with that one, and I'll be right back. Right, that's all done. And the next thing that I want to do for this one, because this one's going to be the quickest, if you remember, I've already put my foamy pads and stuff on my hearts, is I want to put the card stop. And that's the thing that stops your easel from sliding forward. So I've already got 3 foamy pads on the back here. And these are also from Dollar Tree. And if you've been watching my MX art videos, you'll know that I've actually designed some dies that will make shakers using the packaging from these foam tabs. And where you want to position this is obviously in the middle, but so that it's not hanging off your edge. Now, I'm hoping that that is center, and I'm using that stitch line once again as a guide, and I've got my little fancy bit just above the stitch line, so you can see that. I may not be directly center, but I did try my best. And then I've also got foamy pads on the little fancy bit that's going to be my sentiment at the bottom of this, because it says you and me on the paper, and personally I think that's kind of like enough detail for that. Now, before you press foamy pads down, always make sure that it's where you want it and then push. As long as you haven't pushed, you can still peel it off and move it around. Now, we've got the stop there, so if I fold that, you can see your card isn't going to go anywhere because it's being stopped by that. I mean, you can also, if you want to, go down to there, but I actually prefer that point there so that you can see the whole little fancy bit. And now it's just a matter of popping on those little hearts that we made. So I'm peeling off the backs here and deciding where I want them, and I think I'm just going to sort of like cascade them. And these are really cute. They remind me of those sweeties we used to get in packets. You probably still can get them, I'm sure. And then I think I'm going to go there for that one. And this is a super, super quick Valentine card. And then I'm going to go in with sweet there, I think. There they are. They're just totally overlapped. And now they'll just go to the stop there for you. I hope that you can see that. I will pick it up, but usually when you pick easel cards up, they start flopping all over the place. So really, really easy, because we've used that lovely pattern paper for that one. And it just ties in with those. I'm calling them candy hearts. I don't know what KSCRAFT calls them, but I'm calling them that because, as I say, they just remind me of the sweeties. And then you've got all the lovely ones behind on that pattern paper there. And it will go down, not completely flat because you've got dimension, but it will go into an envelope. And I will measure this because then I'll know that I've done it, and it's going to be exactly the same size as the next one. It's 5 inches by 4¼ So that's the size of envelope or little box that you would need to pop it into, but just really cute and quick. Right, the next one is going to be the cake one. And first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause briefly, just put foamy pads on that and glue the gold letters onto the white background. Right, so I've done this, and I've also done the stop, but what I've done now as well is I've popped a little bit of glue on the back, and I'm going to glue this onto the card stop. And what I want to do is stick within the edges of everything that I'm doing so that it doesn't interfere with that card opening and closing. And as you can see, that's a perfect size on there. It's not really overlapping the edges much. It's going nowhere near this, which is going to the end of the card, and it's not going to interfere with the cards coming down on the top of the stop. So that's all glued into position. I'm actually going to put this one on last because I'm going to create these dimensionally on top of here. Now I've got the cake stand here, and that little heart will poke out. See if I can get close. So if you didn't want it, my camera's a bit blurred, isn't it? Don't know how to stop that. you can actually pop a piece of tape on that right now to stop it from falling through. But what I'm going to do is, because I'm making it dimensionally, I'm going to cut a tiny little piece of one of my foamy pads and just stick it along there, because I know it's going to be three-dimensional. So I'm just going to flip that over and I'm going to pop that in the center so none of it's peeking through. And now my heart is going to be held right there because I like it in gold. That doesn't bother me at all. And then I'm going to snip this apart and see if I can get it to fit along here. I don't really like to waste my foamy pads, even though they're cheap, if you know what I mean. Just get the best out that you can, and then I'm going to slice that into, and I'm going to use a bit here. Now I can see that that's going to overlap, so I have not pushed it down yet. That's going to enable me to pick that up and lift it up and cut it with the scissors. Now I'll push it down and it's permanent. And on this piece here, I just need to take a tiny little snip off and then push it down and it's permanent. And you can see, you know, the back of your die cutting is very rarely tidy. Unless it's something that you're actually going to see, you don't have to worry about it too much. Now, obviously, I need to go along there, but because the cake dome is acetate, and I don't want to see how it's fastened on, I'm going to put my acetate dome down like this, and then I'm going to go along the back there with tape to hold it down so that it's hidden from view. Okay, so I'm just going to run a piece of tape and I'll show you that, and I'll be back. So there's my piece of sticky tape on the back there, and I have peeled the backer off it. I've also peeled the wrapper that comes on the cellophane, or shall I say the acetate. And now it's a matter of getting it into the center, and you want to get the bottom of the cloche in there so that it's not poking out. There we go. So now you've got, if I put my hand in there, you've got your cloche on your stand, and we need to get our cake behind it. Now, how are we going to attach the cake? Now, obviously, we're going to glue the icing on top, but how do we make it so that, you know, you've got your cake in there and you're not seeing anything that's working? Well, the answer to that is we're going to put foamy pads on the back of this, and then we're going to marry it up in height when we fasten it down to the card, because there's also foam pads here, and I can cut some strips there so that everything will be the same height, and essentially you're adhering them to your card independently so that you're not seeing any of the workings. Now I'm just going to glue this and put foam pads on the back, and I'll be straight back. Okay, so I've done that. I've glued the icing on, and I'm hoping my camera's gonna, there we go. And I've got 4 pads. I always like to use a lot because I always think if it's going through the post to someone, I don't want it to get crushed. And now the cake is exactly the same height as the cake stand. Now you want your cake to look as if it's in there, and that's of great benefit to you because now you can grab a piece of slimline tape, you can flip this over, and we're going to lie that down, and we're going to go as close to the edge with our slimline as is possible, and then that will grab the edge of that cake. So I'm going as close as I can to the point where I feel it's going to hold on to that cake, because don't forget the reverse of the cake has got pads on it, so it's going to be stuck down anyway. And now if we take the backing off this, we've now got a sticky area for the cake to stick to. We're going to bring the cake in, pick up your cloche, position your cake hopefully in the centre. I might need to stand up for this because it's really difficult for me to see and get things centered. So if I start yelling into the microphone, you have to forgive me. Right, so I think that's the center, and that's it. That's stuck on there now. It's stuck to that piece of tape, and everything is nicely the same height. Now I've got awful static, so I'm just going to peel that off and get the fluffy bits off. And now we can bring in our easy easel. We can take off our foam, and staying within the size of that fancy oval, because we don't want anything that's going to stop the card from opening or closing. Oops, there we go. Got it stuck to my thumb. And I am going to try and get this in the center, and I'm going to work from that point there and hope that it's in the middle. Once again, if it's not, forgive me. But until you push down, it's not really permanent, so there is wiggle room. And it's always the getting it in the center, isn't it? Right, I'm going to just go with that. That's what I'm going to go with. And so that is now stuck down at the same height as everything else. It's going to fold up like that. And as we did before, open that out, peel off the foamy pads. Is my throat bad today? And I'm going to work within the stitched edge again, try to get it in the middle, which I think might be over there, maybe a little bit more, probably about there. There, I'll just go with that. Like I say, if it's not straight, I apologise. And now we've got the stop of our card down that reads always, and you can bring this section in now, and that will stop it from collapsing. Now, talking about collapsing, I'll just sit down again because those are now completed. I'm going to try and pick them up. I will do a photograph, and hopefully it's going to be at the beginning of this video. But how pretty is that? Just really, really sweet. So easy. And I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial, because it's just a half and a quarter. That's all you need to do to make a pretty little easel card. Right, what am I up with tomorrow? Tomorrow I am up with a DIY art bin design team haul and project share. That means I will be back with KSCRAFT on Thursday, and then on Friday I said that I was going to do those 2 dies that I treated myself to, and I'll show you that project for Friday. And as you know, the weeks just fly by too quickly. Right, I will link the KSCRAFT design team haul video below again, and also all of those links. You have an absolutely awesome day. Thank you for joining me. Bye.